Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 6th of May 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then guys, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is gold. Very quickly on this one, so gold had a nice rebound here from this medium-term upside support line taken from the lowest point of August, and now it seems that it's trying to make its way higher again. Now the only thing is, of course, it does have a few obstacles here on its path, and we may see actually maybe this one retracing back down a little bit. This could be a possibility where the commodity could retrace back down, maybe test this upside support line again, and then rebound and push higher. So in a way, keep this idea in mind, because it is trying to approach this 200 EMA. If it continues to trade below this 200 EMA, then we may see this one reversing back down here, and like I said, there could be a chance for a test of this upside support line. Now, of course, this is just one of the scenarios. I mean, it could travel a little bit lower. It could even actually not even test this upside support line. There are some good support levels here underneath, and just for example, like the 1276 here, that also could play out, and yep, this is where we could then see a push further up here. Now, for us, let's say the upside could still be slightly limited due to this downside resistance line, this short-term downside resistance line taken from the highest point of February, but if that of course fails to withhold and we see a further push higher, and eventually we see a nice good daily close above the psychological 1300 level, now this is where the more bulls could start getting excited, more of them could start joining in here and potentially pushing this one further up. But for now guys, we are going to remain somewhat, let's say, somewhat positive. Again, we could see maybe a bit of a slide here back down if it continues to slide. If let's say it continues to slide below the 1276 level that I've mentioned, the last resort for the bulls is going to be this upside support line, this medium-term upside support line, and then we'll take it from there. Like I said, if it holds again, then we may see this time another stronger push and potentially leading towards this downside resistance line. Now, if this upside line gets broken and we see a price drop below the 1266 zone, now this is where we could start considering lower levels. Such a move would confirm a lower low here, and we could then target areas like the 1253, 1251, something like that, around the 50s there. But yep, if that fails to withhold, further declines are possible. But let's not get ahead of ourselves too much. First, in terms of the downside, we need to wait for that nice good break below the 1266 level. And jumping into WTI oil, now this is a bit of a tricky one. So it continues to slide. So it did have a nice rally, but now it's time for a bit of correction, some would say. But the only thing is that it is breaking some of our key support upside support lines, and so initially, of course, we did have this little tentative one here, but now it got broken, so we can get rid of that. Some of these arrows are no longer required as well, but what's the more important one is this one here. It's kind of breaking it to the downside now. It's a bit of a tentative one, of course, as well, but this one's taken from the lowest point of February here. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Of course, It is now below it. This creates more of a bearish kind of scenario. The only thing is for us now, in order to, let's say, consider further declines, we would like to see a nice, good, clear break and a close of the at least of a 4-hour candle here below this 60.35 zone, is approximately here. So it also acted as a good area of resistance back here in around the 21st of March and also the 26th of March. So basically a nice good break here below this, and a nice good close of a 4-hour candle below this could lead this commodity further down. Now this is the wrong level, probably, I would say. So of course what we're going to target first is going to be an area around here, around the 58.20, but just slightly below that we do have the 57.85 level, which also acts as a very good area of resistance previously, but now of course it could take the role of a strong area of support. So this level here marks the highs of the area around the 16th of November, the 22nd of February, and also the 1st of March. So quite an important level. So keep your eyes on these, but first, like I said, before we could consider further declines, we would like to see a nice good break here and a close below this 60.35 level. So keep your eyes on this one. In terms of the upside here, of course, if this travels back up here and pushes above, probably this level needs to be adjusted as well, pushes above this little area right here, and that's approximately around the 62.25 level. This would also place the commodity back above this 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, and then we could of course target slightly higher levels, but a very good potential target here could be around the 64.65 zone. So keep your eyes on this one. So let me just put this here, and this is going to be the target, and this is going to be this little breakout level for further downside. Very quickly, AUDJPY, so opened with a huge downside gap here this morning. So the risk off environment is kind of present right now, let's put it that way. So it's currently finding good resistance near this little level right here, near the 77.42, something like that, approximately there, guys. So we're gonna keep an eye on it. 42, 43, something like that, approximately there. So we're going to keep a close eye on it, because you can see that yes, it did find a new support area near the 76.77, something like that, from there, and then rebounded strongly, and now it's currently, like I said, sitting here near the 77.33, 43, 42, something like that. So it's trying to push back up. Of course, there is still a lot to fill here. It could in a way travel all the way here back towards the 77.70. This area also acted as a very good support zone previously, so now it could play the role of a resistance. Oh, and by the way, the 77.70 was the area here, as you can see, the kind of the lower side of the range that the pair was trading in here for quite a while. So approximately there. So in a way, we could see maybe a test of that area here. We could see maybe this one curving up a little bit. We do have this downside resistance line still in play. So in a way, it could work out perfectly here. So we could see something like this basically, and you probably understand where I'm leaning to now. So we could see something like this basically, where the pair could travel higher, test this area, and then sell off again. But again, for now, of course, it is looking quite oversold here on the 4-hour chart, but it would be difficult. Let's say it would be difficult to kind of talk about the upside until we kind of are trading here below this downside resistance line and below the 77.70 level. In terms of the upside, we would need to see a nice good pop above this downside resistance line, and ideally, preferably, we would like to see a pushback above the 77.90 level, and only then consider potential higher moves here. So for now, keep your eyes on this, guys. Like I said, we could see maybe a bit of more upside here, maybe just to fill a bit of more of this gap, and then if the pair struggles to push further up here, struggles to push above this downside resistance line, then we may see another leg of selling. Euro dollar, so very wild trading here. Again, it's testing this upside support line, this tentative upside support line that I talked about last week in my videos where I was covering euro dollar basically, and also it's back above this 1.1170 1.1175 zone. So of course this creates this nice positive atmosphere here. But as you can see, this is what I was saying last week. Basically, we need to see a nice good move, a strong good move back above this upside support line, and then we will consider higher, slightly higher levels, at least towards this 200 EMA. And but it's currently, again, it's just sitting here near this upside support line, and it's struggling to kind of push further. Of course, a good sign is that it's currently above the pivot, so this increases the pair's chances to maybe to push further up here. Maybe like some more bulls could start joining in here, seeing this as an opportunity. But in a way, for those who are probably more on the cautious side, what you could do here is maybe even actually wait until this pushes back above the 1.1228 level. This way, of course, you could target the 200 EMA, and if that fails to withhold, then yep, this could be quite interesting, and see we could see a euro dollar pushing further up here towards this tentative downside resistance line for a quick test. That's of course if you're more on the cautious side. If you're more on the riskier side, you could start looking already at higher levels if we see a push above the 1.1210 around here. Of course, have your stop loss in place. I mean, that's quite important, guys, just in case this suddenly reverses back down, and to be honest, it could do so. Given the previous year price action, that's why be very careful. And probably kind of, well, have your stop loss in place, just just in that, guys. But again, like I said, it could travel higher, given the fact that it's now balancing around its this upside support line, this tentative upside support line. But again, be very careful with this one. If this suddenly retraces back down here and drops below the 1.1175, of course this creates this bearish atmosphere here. But to be honest, we would now need to see a nice good drop below this little support zone right here, where you can see that the 4-hour candle was not able to close, so, or in other words, below the 1.1150 level. So this way we could then target slightly lower areas, but for now it seems that it wants to push higher. Let's see if it can do that. GBPUSD. Now this was the firework. It had fireworks all over the place on Friday, and you can see that how well this accelerated. So, and this is what I was talking about. This was the scenario that I was talking about in one of my videos last week, where I was saying that we may see a bit of a slide here back down, maybe a possible test of this 1.2975 zone, and then maybe a possible retracement back to the upside. So actually did quite exactly that. So very good move. So now the pair, you can see that it's retracing back down a little bit. You can see it's currently it already got held here by today's pivot, which is around the 1.311215, something like that, approximately there. But just slightly below that, we do have this 1.31 zone, which is going to be monitored very carefully, just in case this, let's say, overshoots this pivot here and travels a bit lower. Keep your eyes on this 1.31 zone. I mean, this could be that nice area for a potential bounce here and another push higher. Of course, if the 1.31 fails to withhold, then we could see maybe a deeper correction here. Now, in order to kind of find a good level, so I do apologize for the amount of lines here. This is the area we're going to be keeping a close eye on, the 1.30, 44, 45 approximately there. This could be that nice target here, which also coincides with the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. So basically, in other words, if we do see a drop below the 1.31, a further slide lower here could bring the pair towards the 1.30, 44, 45 zone approximately there. Slightly below that, of course, we will have this little low here that we saw on Friday, and that was going to be around the 1.2987, something like that. So it could be a nice potential target, but for now all eyes are on the 1.31 and of course this pivot, today's pivot. If it rebounds, it could push higher. It could push towards the last week's highs here, and maybe a little bit higher towards the 1.32 zone. So we're still keeping a close eye on that. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, that's USDCAD. Now this one is having a brilliant time right now. So you can see that it's trying to push higher, and it's succeeding in that, and it's breaking above the 1.3474 zone. And now the next potential target here for us is the 1.35 area. So the 1.3496, but if you know way, you could round it up towards the 1.35. Now I was talking about this one on Friday basically, and this is what I was saying. We need to see that nice good pop above the 1.3474 before we could consider higher levels, and that seems to be the case right now. It is pushing higher, it's trying to push higher. The next target for us is around the 1.35. If that fails to withhold, we could see maybe a further push towards the April highs near the 1.3520, and then we'll take it from there. 1.3522, something like that, approximately there. If this decides to drop back down below the 1.3450, this is where we will be very cautious now, and we will target the 1.34 level again. So which by the time, probably, if it could travel lower here, it could coincide with the 200 EMA here perfectly. So but this is just an idea here for now, guys. It seems to be more positive than negative, but in case this reverses back down and drops below the 1.3450, this could slide further down towards the 1.34 zone. So keep your eyes on this one. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and if you want to join me later on at my trader's tea time, and that's 13:15 GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.